Welcome back. I just want to touch on an item that came up in my last video, which is paying attention to the type of composites that we use in our rigs. So the default composite that comes up, and if we go and look in our composite, we have 4 options, but the default that it starts out in Harmony is going to be as a bitmap composite, and it looks like a standard block rectangle. If our final composite is a bitmap composite, that's fine. The difference between the two that we will usually use, which is a bitmap or pass-through, is a bitmap effectively flattens all of the art layers on that. So exiting this composite, it exits as a single layer or a single group, which is useful when we're applying effects to our artwork. But it becomes a problem in a rigged character situation because we use multiple composites. And if we start flattening pieces as we go, we'll have entire groups of parts of an arm or an entire upper body, lower body that we can't then nudge in Z-space for our animation purposes. And when we use a pass-through, it doesn't flatten it. So the pass-through is what we typically want to use inside of our rig, and then exiting our rig, we will exit as a composite so it's flat so that we're able to then apply effects to that rig. So Harmony has an option inside our preferences, and when we look at it, we can see default pass-through composite, but the standard setting when you install Harmony is that that box is unchecked. And recently, because I was working with the newest version of Harmony, every time I start a new version, I have to go back and reset all of my preferences. They slightly update the menus, and I sometimes forget to check certain boxes, and I forgot to go and check that box. So now if I add in a new composite, we'll see it comes in as a pass-through style composite, not as a bitmap composite. So to see this in action, when we have a pass-through composite, so now I can go and select this part of the arm here, which right now the upper torso is on top in Z-space of the lower body. So I can now nudge this back or front in front of my thing. So if we go and grab the entire upper body here, we can nudge it back because it was on front. Now we can nudge it back. We can see it goes front and behind. No big deal. Now if we go and grab the entire upper body here and send it, okay, it seems like things are behaving about the same. But now if I go and grab the arm here and try to nudge this back, well, it nudged it back because we saw the change happen at the artwork on the elbow where we have the auto patch going on with that, but now I can't keep nudging and nothing's happening. I can even go through and enter in a number so we can see it moved it in space, so it's moving it further back. It got a little bit smaller, but it still is refusing to nudge behind, so it is not wanting to go. So we have a lot of problems here. So now if I go and grab this torso here and send that back, so we can see we nudge it back, but it didn't go behind the upper body, or I mean lower body, where here if we nudge the torso back, we can see how it should behave, but here it did not behave because of using the bitmap composites. Now I have gone in and it changed most of the composites, but now if we look at on the legs here, one of the legs is using bitmap here. One of the legs still has a pass-through on its parts, but then we do have bitmaps going on there. So if I go and grab, say, this leg part here and pull it forward, it pulls it forward, but we can't get it in front of the leg or the hips. This one, because it is set with a pass-through composite still, I didn't go all the way in and adjust that one part. We were able to move that through. So we can see how this can cause problems, and we have to go deep into it. So here on my joints, I do have Bitmap composite, so these should all be pass-throughs. And if we set these all up, oh, wait, I was trying to turn this one into 100% bitmap. Well, oh well. But hopefully you're starting to see some of the difference. So if I have this here again, I try and push it back, and it went behind that arm because they're part of the upper body peg, but I can't get it to go behind the lower body. So we have the lower body comp, the upper body comp. So effectively this is flat and this is flat, so I can't Z-space anything here behind anything here. So we're kind of stuck with it, which is why if we set it up with using pass-throughs, it will behave as expected. So really the hot tip is go into your preferences, default pass-through composite, use those. The final comp, either right here, set that as a bitmap comp so that as it comes into your scene, any effects you apply will then apply it and work correctly. Because if we don't have that bitmap going into certain effects where it uses compositing, so from transparency to highlight, shadows, and using tone nodes and things like that, those will have unexpected results if we're using pass-through as that final composite we dump into it. So that would be the one place where we want to go back to a bitmap. All right, hope this helps. Happy rigging.